Any volunteers to save Haiti's 11 million citizens? Gangs overrunning the country while the prime minister had gone to Kenya to seal a deal for an international policing force. Ariel Henry now stuck in Puerto Rico. The country's been without a president since 2021 and the assassination of Jovenel Moise in what seemed at the time like a new low for the America's poorest nation. Now, though, it's only getting worse, it seems. Haiti is truly leaderless. The UN, United States, and Caribbean leaders are scrambling for an alternative to outright gang rule by the likes of the notorious Jimmy Cherizier, aka Barbecue. And if Washington is growing tired of Ariel Henry, then what's the alternative? Our panel will also react to the exclusive report we're about to show you by partner station France 2, filmed in the streets of Port-au-Prince before last weekend's massive jailbreak by the gangs. Today in the France 24 debate, we're asking who to save Haiti, and we'll be joined shortly from Haiti's capital by Vidlor Mérancourt, editor-in-chief of the news website Aibo Post. Renata Segura is deputy program director for Latin America and the Caribbean for International Crisis Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Attorney Anne-Élodie Telemaque is the former president of the Maison d'Haïti Cultural Center here in Paris. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we're pleased to welcome Florian Demoiselle, video journalist, senior correspondent for public broadcaster France Télévisions. You and Marc de Chelvron, France 24 alumnus, who's graced us with his presence as well. We're going to see your report in a moment. Thanks to both of you for being with us.
Thank you.
Your reactions on the hashtag F2 4Debate. Let me just begin with you. Anne-Élodie, what are people telling you in the last 24 hours that you've spoken to over in Haiti?
That the situation is chaos, literally, that people are living in fear, but that there is it seems that there is an Haitian proposal for a way out of the current chaos. I could talk about it.
Yeah, we'll be asking you about that, about how to break this impasse. First, though, as promised, that exclusive report filmed by Florian and Marc. It's a story read by Lauren Bain.
A violent scene unfolds in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. Police were able to stop an attempted kidnapping. A man is left severely injured. His wife cries out in despair. He's a collateral victim caught in the crossfire. The police firing shots only adds to the chaos. Three men are arrested. They're suspected of being involved with the abduction of a lorry driver. In Haiti, anyone can be kidnapped and held for ransom. The man is still alive and is rushed away in this taxi.
We didn't used to hear shootings around here. It was normally downtown. Today, it's everywhere.
Extortion and kidnappings have become a common trade to finance the gangs. Since the assassination of the Haitian president in 2021, the country has been plunged even further into political chaos and insecurity. 80% of the capital today is controlled by criminal groups. Haitian police officers attempt to regain control of parts of the city. In a bullet-riddled tank, this elite unit gears up for a face-off with a gang. Making their way through Mariani, a neighborhood west of Port-au-Prince.
The residents here are desperate. The area has been occupied for some time by armed men, civilians. We're here to put them out of their misery.
Their mission is to retake a slaughterhouse occupied by a gang. The team is guided by a drone as they move toward the building. Tension is high. Shots are fired. The police enter a narrow alley when they hear someone. The man seen running is shot by police. Although not visibly armed, by just being in the area, he's considered a gang accomplice.
Stand by.
The team decides to retreat. The slaughterhouse will remain in the hands of the gang.
We eliminated a gang member. He was in an alley. I killed him. We had to retreat.
In Haiti's brutal turf war, more than 13 people are killed every day. The Bel Air gang controls this neighborhood located in the heart of Port-au-Prince. Lookouts are always keeping an eye on the front line.
Here it's okay. It's safe. But definitely not up there. We could only go just a little further.
This man moves to a lookout spot closest to the front.
This is the Solino neighborhood. See their flag? It's their base.
At the end of the street is enemy territory. The Bel Air gang has been trying to gain control of this area.
There's a guy who sticks out his head from time to time. I'm gonna shoot him.
For the gangs, gaining new territory means securing more financing through extortion. In this footage, the two sides came head-to-head. The Solinos, aided by the police, are seen fighting off the Bel Airs. Young members of the Bel Air gang show off their territory, armed to the teeth. They call themselves the 103 zombies, living or dying in the service of their boss.
In the Battle of Solino, we were ready to die. That's all we've got in this country. Most of the young people who haven't left Haiti yet are like us. They take up arms.
We are the 103 zombies. We run this country.
On social media, they brandish their wealth and lavish lifestyles achieved through criminal activities. Some are even seen with a couple $1,000s. They set out patrolling the streets with a bottle of rum in one hand and a gun in the other.
This gun is like us. See, it too drinks rum.
On the other side of the street, the Solino neighborhood, coveted by the Bel Air gang. One of the residents shows where the two gangs faced off.
They burned everything. It's war. Everything's destroyed.
A large community of police officers live in Solino, along with other local residents. So far, they've managed to fend off the Bel Air gang, but the fighting is fierce.
There are residents who stay there all night, the community brigades. It's a form of self-defense to keep people from leaving the neighborhood. Authorities don't come here to see the damage.
Abandoned by the state, the population has been left to fend for itself, with over 300,000 people displaced. More than half are children. This woman had to flee her home in a hurry while pregnant.
In Haiti, we're not valued. We're thirsty, we're hungry, we're being shot at, we're in need. The country's finished. We need a solution because it's really bad.
Last year, the UN approved a multinational police mission to quell the violence. Leading the initiative is Kenya, who has agreed to deploy 1,000 officers to Haiti, a small glimmer of hope for millions of Haitians.
Yeah, that report by Florian Demoiselle and Marc de Chalvron. Let me begin with you, Florian. You guys have been to a lot of different places. You stayed in Haiti for 1 week. Was it what you were expecting?
Not at all. That was the first time for me. So I didn't know what expected. I mean, of course, before going on an assignment, you read lots of stuff about the story, about the country and what's going on there. But as soon as we arrived, we realized that the situation was a total chaos.
Yeah, that attempted kidnapping, you filmed it almost by chance.
Yeah, I mean, we were riding on bicycle back to the hotel. We heard some gunshots, and we arrived on a situation where there was a crowd of lots of people and people yelling. So you don't catch the situation, straight. And then we approached and we saw this guy lay down, bleeding, and his wife shouting, crying. I mean, it was quite intense, yeah.
Marc de Chavron, those children, they're children who are drinking rum to steal their nerves. They have older people behind the scenes who are supplying them. Any idea who they are?
Yeah, well, actually, we had an appointment with their boss on the day we were with them, but he was sick, so we couldn't meet them. So, yeah, there is, for every gang, there is a boss, and the guy who carry the weapons and who go on the front line, they really follow what the boss says. And it's the same in every neighborhood controlled by gangs. So they are really soldiers dedicated to their boss.
And a word about the police that we saw there. Mm-hmm. How overwhelmed are they? We see them go in. There's maybe that boy who's shot.
Yeah.
What is he, like a spotter?
We don't exactly know, because when we were there, we just understood that they shot a guy, but we didn't know who it was, because the guy in the front just shot him, and then we saw the picture and we saw that it was just a guy.
Because you had put body cams.
Oh yeah, on the commander, the one who shot the young guy, and so we just saw that this guy didn't carry a weapon. So we were like, okay, the police, they can shoot like this, people who don't have weapons, but the situation was so dangerous there that in a way you can understand it, but. What was doing this guy there, we don't know. I mean, was he a spotter for the gang? Was he just a guy going through this place? Because some people are living nearby. This, we don't know.
And, I mean, you can see with this, I mean, the SWAT team, when they put their boots on the ground, I mean, they are not really confident, because you know that you can have an ambush. I mean, there is no one around, so they're just like walking, and you can feel them like really tense, because you can be ambushed at any moment. So this guy was just like coming in.
Yeah, this neighborhood was really a trap for them.
Well, we can now cross to Port-au-Prince. Vidlor Mérancourt, editor-in-chief of the news website Ayibo Post. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate. What we just saw illustrated in that report. How long has it been like that in the Haitian capital?
Well, I think what we just saw in this report is the latest example of Haiti, plunging further into chaos. But at the same time, it's not a new story. It's probably, some of the worst situations we've seen. But we have to remember, in 2021, the Haitian president was the leader of the country back then, was assassinated in the intimacy of his bedroom, and a couple of days, I think weeks before he was killed, dozens of people were killed in the capital, including a human rights defender and a journalist.
So let me just to get it straight, Vidlor. 2010, there's that horrific earthquake. At what point do the gangs really take over Port-au-Prince?
Well, Haiti has a gang problem. This gang problem, stems back for years. Politicians and also people in the business sector, historically use the gangs to advance their own interest. And on top of that, you also have a gun trafficking problem that is, caused by lack of policies and also, the deficiencies of the Haitian state. Most guns in Haiti right now that are implicated in these crimes can be traced back, to the U.S. and these are numbers coming from the U.S. Justice Department. So, in the past, let's say 7 to 8 years, let's say the two last presidents that we had, Jovenel Moïse was assassinated, but his predecessor, who picked him to become president under Michel Martelly, the situation, plunged even further into more chaos. And today we are, witnessing a total breakdown of the rest of the institutions that was, still standing in Haiti. We talked about, the biggest penitentiary center in Haiti, being attacked by the gangs. And my own reporting is showing that the police officers did not resist a lot when the gangs surrounded the place, and in the course of them fleeing, they left doors open, and people, including some of the worst criminals, left the place. The morale in the police, that's something people don't talk really about, is at an all-time low. I have sources in the Haitian National Police today that tells me, dozens choose to stay home or to kind of protect themselves because, the gangs are all powerful.
Right. So, and that corroborates what Florian Demoiselle just said about the tension felt by that patrol that they followed. Renata Segura, listening to Vidlor, you think back to January when the whole world was stunned when drug gangs in Ecuador organized a massive prison break. This, though, is on a whole nother scale.
It is definitely on a whole other scale, and I think the international community was preparing a response to the type of violence that we had been seeing in Haiti, as has been said for years, but particularly increasing since the assassination of President Moïse. But really the situation is changing dramatically by the hour. And since the attack of the gangs to the police, the stations, to the jails, to the airport, we really are looking at a very, very different stage to which this multinational mission that was mentioned in the report should be arriving. It really is a completely different situation that the Kenyans had signed for, and that is going to require an accelerated response from the international community overall.
Why didn't the international community react in 2021 after the assassination of the president?
Well, the international community has reacted in some way, and the creation of this multinational support mission approved by the UN, by being led by Kenya, is that response. It has been, though, a fairly slow response. I think in part the difficulty has been this very difficult history of international intervention in Haiti, which has not always resolved well. And the Haitians, for understandably reasons, have requested that anything that happens has to be led by the Haitians themselves. At the core of the issue has been a difficulty to create a transitional government that really has the support of the majority of the people. And without that government, without a transitional government that really reflects all of Haitians, it has been difficult for the international community to give the national police in Haiti the support that it needs. Very, very understandably, a lot of countries were saying, we don't want to send troops to a country if they are going to be seen by the population as just instrument to keep in power a man that is highly illegitimate. So it took a lot of back and forth to try to put together this mission that is hopefully going to arrive into Haiti soon, but also to try and craft a political agreement that really responded to the needs of all Haitians. And Prime Minister Henry, we have to say, has not been very cooperative on that front until right now. We'll have to see how the next few days evolve in this sense when, as we are hearing on the ground, there is a new political pact taking shape in Haiti, which hopefully creates a transitional government that can provide full support for this mission to arrive in the coming days.
Yeah, and we promised Anna Elodie Telemac that we would talk about the bid to try to form some kind of a legitimate governance for Haiti to welcome the international community. Before we get to that, though, we have a lot of viewers in Kenya watching us. Do you see Kenyan police coming to Haiti under the current circumstances?
I think that what Renata just said is very true. It means that Haitian people do not want any country to impose them a solution. They would like, of course, they will need, I think, the international community support, but this has to be co-built with the Haitian population, which is now in a situation where they are experiencing the darkest hours of their history.
Darker than the earthquake, darker than...
I mean, since then, a president has been assassinated in their country, and nothing happened really since, except commitments that provisional government would take over until election, until they would leave, it would leave, and then organize election, which are not there. So, of course, this is generating a huge crisis, because if you don't fulfill the commitment you took, then how does a population which is in need with everything, water, electricity, food, now security, the population in your very interesting documentary, there was a woman saying, we are helpless, we need everything, and more of that, we live in fear because there is no security, there is no stability.
This was filmed a few weeks ago. Back then, did you go to see the office of the Prime Minister? Did you have a feeling that there was someone in charge?
Not really. I mean, nothing is working except him. I mean, the parliament.
Ariel Henry.
Yeah, except Ariel Henry. I mean, the parliament is not working. Nothing is working. There's no president. He's just the only one. So, except Ariel Henry, nothing exists now in Haiti. But what we are seeing now, we heard about it when we were in Haiti. We met Barbecue when we were there. It's not in the report. And he has this political speech for a while saying that he wants to do the revolution and doing the revolution through gathering all the gangs together. And this is what we see now, just to take Ariel Henry out of his office. And so there were some rumors that it was going to take place when we were there, but they waited for the Prime Minister just to go out of the country and go to Kenya to do what they're doing today.
Yeah, Barbecue, Jimmy Cherizier, a 46-year-old former policeman. He's, among all the gang leaders, the one who's drawn the most attention. On Tuesday, he warned of civil war if Ariel Henry, who's now in Puerto Rico, unable to return to his own country, does not resign. Laurent Berstecker explains.
We are fighting to topple the government of Ariel Henry by any means necessary.
He's been trying to bring down the government for years and could be getting close to achieving his goal. At 46 years old, gang leader Jimmy Cherizier has become one of Haiti's most feared and powerful figures. But the man who rarely appears without his automatic rifle wasn't always on the wrong side of the law. For 15 years, Cherizier worked as an officer of the Haitian National Police Force. But in 2018, he was fired over his alleged involvement in the massacre of civilians. And by 2020, he had taken the reins of a powerful criminal alliance dubbed the G9 family, with over 1,000 men under his command. Nicknamed Barbecue for his alleged tendency to burn his opponents alive, which he denies, Cherizier has repeatedly claimed he was not a gangster, but a revolutionary fighting against the elite.
We are fighting against a system that allows rich people to make millions of dollars, while the rest of us sleep with the pigs.
And for Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, no one embodies the corrupt elite more than Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry. In 2022, the G9 alliance blocked a major fuel terminal in the capital, piling pressure on the government. And in recent days, Cherizier's men led coordinated attacks against the airport, a police academy, and several prisons, freeing thousands of inmates. The cop-turned-gang leader is now threatening to plunge the country into civil war if the prime minister doesn't step down.
So, Florian Demoiselle, you met with Jimmy Cherizier, a.k.a. Barbecue.
Yes, we did.
What does he want? Does he want to be the power behind the throne, or does he want the throne?
I mean, it's not really clear exactly, but we had, I had the impression that the gangs were used in the past by politicians, for their own interest. And now, you don't know who is behind him. Does he have, is there anyone behind him? You don't know, but you see him that he's really confident. He wants power, and he's not afraid of assuming it now. So, we don't really,
Yeah, he's confident enough to say that he wants to overthrow the government, and he doesn't say that he wants the power for himself. He doesn't say this, but he's powerful now.
Renata Segura, what does Barbecue want?
Barbecue has been for quite a while now presenting himself as a political leader. That obviously clashes with the terrible things that the gang that he leads and his allies have imposed on the Haitian people. So there are plenty of reasons why to doubt that this is true. But in a press conference that he gave a couple nights ago, he did apologize to the Haitians for what had been done to them. And he's really speaking beyond Haiti to the international community, asking that he is seen as an interlocutor. You would imagine that he might want, as he had asked in the past, to be, for example, a member of cabinet, which is something that he has specifically requested in the past. How much appetite there's going to be from the international community to allow something like that. Let's remember that Cherizier has been included in the sanctions lists of the UN and the US. It seems implausible that would be something that happens. However, what he might be thinking is that he wants to position himself such that if the mission does arrive and there is a situation where there is a possibility of a negotiation with the gangs, then he might get some demobilization benefits. For example, keeping a lot of the money that he has been able to collect from extortions and kidnappings, and perhaps negotiating a very light jail sentence, if a sentence at all. It is difficult to really judge a character like him, who used to be part of the police, clearly messianic, with quite a high self. But the reality is that he is not going to go away quietly. I think it is also important to know that Cherizier is so important right now because he has been acting in concert with other gangs, right? He has relived this alliance called Vive Ensemble that has enabled him and others to really put the state against the corner as it is at this right moment. But we also need to remember that these alliances are fragile, that these men have egos of their own, and they could start fighting each other again as they were doing just a few weeks ago. So the political capital that he has at this moment seems very high because of these alliances, but we don't know that that is something that is really going to hold once the situation sort of normalizes a little bit, how much do these gangs are really creating a joint group that's going to be engaging in conversations or even in combat together, and how long that will last is something that we need to see.
So, Vidlor Mirancourt, there you hear, on the one hand, Renata Segura talking about the alliance of gangs, albeit fragile, that's we're witnessing right now. You heard earlier Anne-Élodie Telemaque talking about how civil society, politicians are trying to coalesce to find a credible leadership to take over the country after Ariel Henry. What's the feeling?
Well, I'd like to stress that, it is very important to say when, people like Jimmy Cherizier is talking about a revolution to kind of free the country from corrupt politicians and extremely corrupt business leaders. It's a rhetoric because there is no evidence of that on the ground. His coalition of gangs attacking, normal people, kidnapping, normal citizens, and attacking, destroying even small businesses. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm hearing in so many international media that the opposition to the government comes from Jimmy Cherizier or Guy Philippe, who was in prison in the U.S. A couple of months back. I don't think this narrative is true. The Prime Minister Ariel Henry is a very deeply unpopular figure in Haiti. He's contested by the vast majority of Haitians. And if actually people agree on one thing today, is Ariel Henry is not, an effective leader in Haiti. So what happened in the last couple of days to make someone like, Jimmy Cherizier to rise against the government is probably, that's a theory, it's probably the fact that, they are deeply opposed to the deployment of a multinational force in Haiti that would come and, make it extremely difficult for them to attack the civil population in Haiti. So how does it feel like right now to be in Haiti? I'm not sure I understand the question. Do you mean?
Well, what's the feeling more in terms of who can come together? Is there an alternative to the gangs that's emerging?
Well, quite frankly, Haitian politicians and civil society leaders have been trying for about 4 years, even before, the assassination of the president, to build together some sort of
sorry about that. The line is cutting out there with Port-au-Prince. We're going to try to reconnect with Vidlor Mirancourt. Is there so there's unanimity that be it the gangs or ordinary citizens, people are tired of Ariel Henry, whose mandate has long expired. So is there a credible alternative?
I believe there is. Hopefully there will be. To my point of view, what we can really say is really that state institutions are obviously overwhelmed by events, that the population is fed up with the situation, so gangs are now taking weapons and trying to control the country, or at least the capital, which is not, it can't be the solution. Fire has to cease. It's urgent. Action is urgently needed to avoid first human.
So what do you do? Do you have, like in El Salvador, a strong man who comes in and throws a lot of people in jail?
What I would say is that where there is an alternative is that the civil society is thinking about building up a proposal as an alternative. And to face this situation, some people are calling rapid Haitian solution to that multidimensional crisis. And they are suggesting, for example, there is a group, and it's really brand new, I would say. Yesterday, for the first time, there has been the disclosure of a proposal which would consist in a three-member national governing council that could take in charge the country's governance. This council would be headed by maybe the two forces that are now trying to oppose to those gang controls, which mean the commander-in-chief of the army, who is really trying to take over. I mean, the airport for the time being is under the control of the army, hopefully. Okay, and then the second member could be the Director General of the National Police of Haiti, which is governing a corps of 9,000 people who are armed and who can help to calm down the country and to stop. I mean, to help to cease fire, because otherwise it will go to a civil war. I mean, if guns are talking,
is it already there? Because I asked the question because your report mentions that there are civil defense groups in some neighborhoods.
Yes, exactly. Especially in Canapé Vert. It's a neighbor in Port-au-Prince. We met them, and of course, I mean, we interviewed them, and they give us the impression that they are hopeless. They don't believe anymore in the government, and it's hard for them also to believe in the police. Not because they have a problem with the police, but they witness the fact that the police is not able to deal with the gangs. So if the police can't deal with the gangs, they say, okay, maybe we are part of the solution and we want to manage it. But the thing is that, I mean, they are not. I mean, the population also committed like a crime in April because they burned people who were suspected to be gang members, but these people weren't judged or anything. They were just like killed and burned in the streets. So that's the danger. I mean, everything is collapsing.
People taking the law into their own hands. We were mentioning earlier that ever since 2021 and the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, they've been talking about an international police force. The Biden administration feeling that Prime Minister Henry has been dragging his heels. Just listen, for instance, to the White House spokesperson, Karine Jean-Pierre, herself of Haitian heritage, when she was asked about the fact that Ariel Henry is in Puerto Rico right now and unable to return home.
So we are not providing any assistance to help the Prime Minister certainly return to Haiti. We're not going to speak to his travel. That is something for him to speak to.
What we've asked the Haitian Prime Minister to do is move forward on a political process that will lead to the establishment of a presidential transitional council that will lead to elections. And we think that is urgent. That he moves forward in that direction and start the process of bringing normalcy back to the people of Haiti.
All right, and by the way, the Miami Herald has seen a U.S. government document that calls for Ariel Henry to step down, quote, when the new government structures have been established, either or this multinational security support, this international police force deploys whichever is first. The newspaper reports that Biden's team has lost faith in Henry's ability to lead after repeated pointed conversations with the prime minister over his unwillingness to cede real power. Asked whether the administration could envision a scenario in which Henry remained in authority, the official said, quote, "I find that unlikely." But how much clout, Renata Segura, does the United States have?
Oh, enormous amount of clout. I mean, we really have to understand that Henry has only been in power this long because the U.S. has been insisting in his staying there. And so with this signaling that they might finally lose faith on Henry really changes everything. We have been seeing these conversations around the creation of the joint government that will have a prime minister and a presidential council. These conversations have been on the table for a very long time. And there's been multiple processes, some led by CARICOM, some by private mediators, in which they've tried
CARICOM
to
is the Caribbean, just to explain for our viewers, the Caribbean regional body.
Yes, the Caribbean Community of Nations, so the regional organization that brings together all of the Caribbean governments. They had chosen a number of people that had been traveling to Haiti to try and come to an agreement, and either because of opposition from the Montana group and others in the opposition, or because of Henry, that had not taken place. Now, without the United States really putting its weight behind Henry, there's nothing that he has to really keeping him in power. Like his grasp on power was already extremely thin, and this signaling from the U.S. that they are apparently going to leave him stranded in Puerto Rico, apparently, it is just a sign that there's going to have to be a movement probably without him. This might be the thing that actually finally allows the Haitian counterparts to come together and bring a possibility of a government of unity that doesn't really keep this fighting between Henry and his people and the rest of the parties and civil society. And that, I think, would be significantly important. It is very difficult to separate governance from security in the case of the Haitian crisis. And without tackling those two things simultaneously, we're not going to be able to address the enormous humanitarian catastrophe that is happening in Haiti. And that should be obviously the one thing that we keep in mind above all. Half of the Haitian people don't have enough food to go, to eat every day. There's no access to schools, to health services. So this is an indispensable thing that it happens.
Yeah, stressing that point is the United Nations. The international community clearly of two minds when it comes to sending soldiers or police. And Haiti needs, as Renata was saying, to feed its citizens, not just the 360,000 that are displaced.
As a reminder, 5.5 million people, that's nearly half of Haiti's population, need humanitarian assistance. This year's $674 million humanitarian appeal for Haiti is just 2.5% funded. That means it has received only $17 million.
How do you get the world's attention? And then
Yes, I think that regarding that idea, that proposal that is supported by the population already, even the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church is thinking about how to put up that council with a mission that would, I was talking about the army, the police, but what is also the third member of that council could be the most ancient judge of the Supreme Court.
So if this semblance of order returns and the gang leaders are asking for Ariel Henry to go, isn't that going to be bad news for them? Why are they asking for him to go if what you're suggesting is a return to law and order?
What I'm saying is that it would be really time for dialogue, to put the weapons down, to avoid to go further into that crisis, and to think about how a mission of that council could be set up. So there would be a transitional government made up with technicians. That council could appoint a constituent assembly to draw up a new constitution, because the Haitian constitution is contested for decades. And that council could also set up a provisional electoral council, because what the population wanted was these elections to take place, and they didn't take place. So this is very important that those elections takes place within a certain time, like 24 months maximum, or 18 months, that something is put in place so that those elections can take place. And the Haitian population, knowing the situation they are in, they can't, it's not the revolution that will help them to move forward, to build their future. So, of course, there will be a need to have the support of CARICOM, as Renata was talking about the international community like the USA and France, because, of course, Haiti has always been a zone of influence for the United States.
So the need for the international community.
There's a need to work together.
First step, though, is, of course, restoring law and order to its streets. I want to thank you so much, Anne-Élodie Télémac.
You're welcome.
I want to thank Vidlor Mérancourt for being with us from Port-au-Prince, Renata Segura as well, and Florian Demoiselle, Marc de Chalvron. You've got a longer piece coming out for
next week on
the investigative news program Envoyé Spécial.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us here in the France 24 debate.